Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawk. We are St. Louis.
Of the Major League Baseball season is presented by Burger King. It's day baseball from the Queen City. And this afternoon, the Cincinnati Reds play host to the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. With my partner Al Rabowski, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. What a start for St. Louis in trying to go for a sweep this afternoon, Al. A big reason for this start, the offense.
Well, everything's been going well. Starting pitching, quality starts 5 out of 6. Mott's 2-2 in saves. But the big thing is the offense. They're second in Major League Baseball with a .310 average, but everything else, the Cardinal offense leads the big leagues with all their statistics.
In this series, the first inning has been a key offensively for St. Louis. Will it continue this afternoon? The Cards looking for the sweep. Baseball next. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. The Great American Ballpark, it's day baseball. And the Cardinals off to a terrific start at 5-1. Their best road start since 1931. And here's a look at the lineup for Mike Matheny. Rafael Furcal will lead it off. He had the night off last night. Then John Jay and Matt Holliday. Matt Carpenter will bat cleanup and play first base. Yadier Molina, Daniel Descalso, Tyler Green, Eric Komatsu, and the pitcher, Jaime Garcia. The Cardinals face 26-year-old right-hander this afternoon. He's a good one, Johnny Cueto.
Really is, and he's coming off a 7-inning shutout baseball on opening day to pick up his first victory.
He's got that Louis Tiant delivery towards the plate, something that he started midseason a year ago. It's 46 degrees this afternoon here in Cincinnati.
Both these starting pitchers, Cueto and Jaime Garcia, do a good job of hiding the baseball.
And the 1-1 pitch. Bill Miller is calling the balls and strikes today. Angel Campos is down at first. C.B. Buckner at second, and Dale Scott down at third. Furcal pops it foul and out of play, and it evens it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Cueto has a very live fastball. His best off-speed pitch would be a changeup. He's sort of a disciple of Mariano Soto, and then he really kind of throws a slurvy slider.
In the air, out to right. Backing up a step or 2 is Jay Bruce, and there's 1 away. Let's take a look at the defense, which is brought to you by Dobbs. Ryan Ludwig, our old buddy in left. Drew Stubbs in center. Bruce is in right. Cairo, Cozart on the left side of the infield. Valdez, Votto on the right side. And behind the plate, it's Ryan Hannigan, his second start in this series. When he was in St. Louis, he played right field. Talking about Ryan Ludwig, he's in left and can play all 3 outfield spots for Cincinnati.
Ryan just happy he's in the lineup. John Jay has Cueto's number. 8 for 15 with 2 home runs.
One and 2 on John Jay. He was in that leadoff spot last night. He's a guy that had 159 appearances a year ago, and in some ways kind of overlooked because you have Holiday in left, you had Berkman in right last year, and this year you've got Beltran, and real steady out in center is John Jay. Hits it into center, and Stubbs doesn't have to move, makes the catch, 2 away. This replay brought to you by Plaza Tire Service. Let's take a look at the delivery of Johnny Cueto.
He's looking right at you, then he'll spin all the way around, as you mentioned, Tiant style. And that allows him to kind of hide the ball. The ball sneaks up on you. He can get it up to the mid-90s, but most comfortable pitching at about 93.
Here's Matt Holliday telling us last night he isn't quite locked in. Holliday on the year with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. Jammed and popped it up to Votto. And the Cardinals go in order. The lefty, Jaime Garcia, to the mound when we come back. 3 different clubs, and that's Dusty Baker, Giants, Cubs, and now with Cincinnati. And let's take a look at his lineup, minus some big guns in there. Drew Stubbs, Zach Cozart, Joey Votto here in the first. Then Ludwig will bat cleanup. Jay Bruce, Miguel Cairo rolling the afternoon off. Wilson Valdez, Ryan Hannigan, and Johnny Cueto. Jaime Garcia gets the start for St. Louis.
Already 1-0 on the season. He's 1 strikeout away from 300 in his career. Back-to-back 13 wins in his rookie and sophomore seasons, and he's got good numbers against Cincinnati.
Well, Zach Greinke, the only other pitcher so far in this road trip to send the Cardinals 3 up, 3 down in the first inning. Along now with Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out what happened in our first inning.
So Drew Stubbs leads it off. Third baseman today is Daniel Descalso. He has to play in, and you've got to really respect the tremendous speed of the 27-year-old.
Also have to respect the power.
In the air, out to right. Backing up to make the catch, the right fielder today. And that's Eric Komatsu. 1 away. The Dobbs defense, it is a different looking lineup with Holiday, Jay, and Komatsu getting the start at right. Descalso at third, Furcal regular, Tyler Green at second, Carpenter over at first, and behind the plate, Yadier Molina. That's presented by Dobbs.
Well, you really do have to respect Mike Matheny and resting some of the elder statesmen. Furcal got the day off yesterday. You look at today, Freeze is out of there, but Berkman and Beltran.
Zach Cozart, their everyday shortstop, as you get a look at Mike.
And I think it also is an indication that they think Jaime is starting to get over some of his little, should you say, anxiety or little things that are beyond his control that he used to let affect him.
Zach Cozart, second round pick out of Ole Miss in 2007, taps back to Garcia. He's actually a teammate of Lance Lynn's and Chris Coughlin, the former Rookie of the Year with the Florida Marlins. Those three, that trio was on the same team. Brings in Joey Votto.
Joey off to a slow start, and Garcia is not a welcome sight. He's only 2 for 16 against him.
They signed him to that long-term deal, and Votto is very honest in his assessment of the situation. If he did not sign it, he said, you know what, I'm human. To me, it was a distraction in spring because it was talked about so much. Now he can put that to rest. He's locked up and probably will finish his career right here in Cincinnati.
Well, it is amazing. One of the reasons why you have to give somebody $250 million is because it would bother him being answering questions about pending free agency. And he's 2 years. He's still got 2 years on his old contract.
He was the minor league player of the year for the Reds in 07. He's been an all-star, and he lines it into center field for a base hit. In steps Ludwig for the first time.
Joey's just a natural hitter, former MVP, set up away. Looks like Molina's glove goes back towards the middle of the plate, but a 2-out single, that's fine. Mislocation, in this ballpark, you're worried about the long ball.
And Al, we've seen the ball carry very well to right center field. And they say that that's probably the best jet stream, if you will, of this ballpark is into right center. Most would believe it's left field because it's short. That's hit sharply to third. Descalso across the diamond and makes the play with Green covering at second. Matt Carpenter hustling in. He's due up first. season ticket plan. You got the full season, the half season, 27 game plan, and each includes a hefty discount off the gate price and additional perks. Visit Cardinals.com/season today. If you're thinking about opening day, there's still the opening day pack, which is available. And still tickets available for opening day, as some of those tickets have been returned by the Cubs and Major League Baseball. And you can look at Cardinals.com to see if there's some tickets available for this weekend. Definitely for Sunday, but some have been handed back for opening day and as well on Saturday, which is the ring ceremony. A strike on the inside corner. This is Matt Carpenter. 3 balls, 1 strike. It was 3 up and 3 down in the first for Cueto. In the air, opposite way. Pretty well hit. Back is Ludwig and makes the catch on the run and near the wall.
Ball just kept on slicing away from Ludwig into the corner, and yet he got a good jump on the ball and makes the catch. You see the ball running away from him, so now coming off the bat of a left-hander, keeps on slicing into the corner. And it really did appear that the wind kind of knocked that one down.
Here's Yadier Molina, prior to this season, a career .274 hitter. And he takes a breaking ball and a strike. A 3-time All-Star now. 4 consecutive Gold Gloves and hit .305 last year. He skies one to center for out number 2.
Everything in the air. Not a safe way to pitch in this ballpark, but so far he's gotten away with it.
Remember, a few years ago they signed Eric Milton, who was a fly ball pitcher, and we wondered about that. And Walt has talked about if they're going to get back to postseason play and be able to contend in the NL Central, it comes down in his mind to pitching and defense. Defense, they feel they've shortened that up a little bit, but the pitching with Latos and then a healthy Cueto, healthy Bailey, they like the rotation. There's a base hit into right off the bat of Daniel Descalso. First hit of the afternoon for St. Louis, and it brings in Tyler Green. Look at the Fox tracks. It's brought to you by Chevy.
Down the way, he just kind of hits his spot, but Daniel was able to reach out, hook that ball, and pull it to right field.
Bailey and Cueto last year, the Reds were 27-19 when those two started. When they did not start, the replacements went 6-13. Sam LeCure, who we saw last night as Green tries to bunt his way on. Mike Maloney, and you might remember Dontrell Willis was with Cincinnati last year, made a handful of starts, and this year he was with the Phillies and did not make the club.
They may like their starting rotation, but I don't think anybody would grade it higher than the Cardinals.
And the Cardinals starters right now with an ERA of 1.88. Got him. They pick off Descalso. Leaves Green standing at home plate. It'll be Bruce, Cairo, and Valdez coming up. No score here in Cincinnati. baseball and a special day on Friday. It's opening day, and our pregame coverage begins at 12:30. The ceremony, motorcade, scheduled to start at 1:30. First pitch at 2:15. Cardinals and Cubs, again, 12:30. If you don't have a ticket, watch right here on Fox Sports Midwest and foxsportsmidwest.com for our Cardinals coverage at 12:30.
And our Toyota keys of the game talked all about the Cardinal offense, but Jaime is throwing to a very cold Reds offense. As a team, they're hitting 201, but if you throw out the numbers from Cozart and Bruce, the number would be 144. Be the average as a team.
There's a liner into right field on an 0-2 pitch, and Jay Bruce is aboard. Second hit for Cincinnati this afternoon.
Big power guy. Molina set up outside, a little breaking ball, and he just reaches out and got enough of it to hook it.
Well, we can't emphasize enough, if you are coming down to the ballpark on Friday, get there early. 10 a.m. is the official Cardinals opening day pregame pep rally. The gates open, by the way, at 11:45. 11:45, the gates will open up. And the famed Budweiser Clydesdales will begin at 1:30 with the players being announced in the Ford motorcade around the warning track. The Cardinals have asked representatives of the last 4 World Championship teams to be a part of the ceremony, so some special guests will be included on opening day.
Cardinals always do it right, don't they?
Yes, they do.
I mean, it's just special, and I always get a big kick out of seeing the Clydesdales.
And that's a strike at the knees to a guy that's been around nearly 2 decades in the big leagues, and that's Miguel Cairo.
Very versatile, can play a lot of positions, but has developed into one of the better pinch hitters.
If you head to the Champions Club this year, you'll notice that the trophies from 67, 82, 06, and 11 will be there. The chance to get a picture side by side with those trophies at the Champions Club. Another reason to go there.
Other than the great food and spectacular views, and if you got bad weather, you got a little protection.
Cardinals have also added a few hundred seats at the terrace level of the ballpark, so you will notice some improvements.
The raising of the new pennant.
But again, the gates open up at 11:45. Shannon McGrain, the star of American Idol, will sing the Star Spangled Banner. 3-1 the count on Cairo. So Scott Rowland with the day off, and Cairo was thought that he might be coaching at this point, and I think he may have felt the same way, but he was convinced to stay as a player.
He told me 2 years ago that he had a rough spring, thought that would be it, and they said, no, you're on the team.
Here's a double play ball. 4, 6, 3. It's a double play.
Kyle still has that strong arm. Gets the ball right here, and then he guns him out. Gives him half a step over there at first. Ralphie got the day off yesterday, and you know, I find it very interesting, Mike's lineup today, and I think it's just says volumes about how secure he feels. He does the right thing and gives his veterans some days off.
Base hit to left. Wilson Valdez. Third hit allowed by Jaime, and it brings in Ryan Hannigan. Well, if you have questions about the Cardinals, head over to FoxSportsMidwest.com right now, and you can chat with our very own Rick Horton during the ball game in the Jack in the Box Ask the Expert. And Rick is chatting online at FoxSportsMidwest.com, and we will have a three-man booth for opening day on Friday. '31-year-old Ryan Hannigan. 91 appearances last year. Hit .267. And his on-base percentage was second only to Joey Votto. .356 last year. Reds have talked about his defense. They like that. But I know it was very hard for the Reds to see Ramon Hernandez leave the organization. It's a very good backstop the last few years for the Reds.
Yeah, he was their #1 catcher and very well thought of by Dusty Baker and his staff, and they were a little upset that he chose to go elsewhere, Colorado, as a free agent. But their #1 prospect in the minor leagues is the young catcher that we saw last night.
By his own admission, Yadier Molina said that he picked off probably 26 runners at single A in 2002. And there is no doubt that has been a part of his game behind the plate. Those pickoffs in particular with Pujols at first, and today he's got Matt Carpenter down there.
Not only the pickoffs, it's just that he shuts down the running game.
Threw out 44% of base stealers last year, and teams only ran on him 65 times the entire season.
And there were quite a few at the beginning of the season where successful steals he didn't have a chance to throw. They were stealing off the pitcher.
Lifted to left, and it drops in for a hit. Runners at the corners. Valdez hustling all the way with 2 outs on contact, and he winds up at third.
And it didn't really look like he fully committed to go to third as he sees the ball out there, but you see there he was going to stop at second base until he saw that Holiday was still a step or two away from it.
Last year when Dave McKay was at first base, you always saw him at the first base box with a stopwatch. In his estimation, he said most catchers are 1-9 to second base. As Cueto with 2 outs trying to bunt his way on. He said Molina consistently was in the 1-7s, if not better. That little split second out can make the difference.
A lot of times what they do is they look at the time, the pitcher, how long it takes him to release the ball. And we talk about all the time, you don't steal so much off the catcher, you steal off the pitcher.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs and 2 on. Garcia in his first start of the year was in Milwaukee, and early on it just took him a while to get settled in, but once he did, he was very effective. There's a broken bat hit to third. Descalso makes the play, and the Reds strand 2. Coming up, we'll get an update on the health of Lance Berkman. Jim Hayes will stop in. No score after 2. KiaSt.Louis.com. Love bacon? Try the new BLT cheeseburger combo right now at Jack in the Box for just $4.99 plus tax. And by the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. Take the Cardinals on the road with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv. And you'll see every single game in HD. Cardinals.com to order for more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. We've seen that Mike Matheny has transitioned a bit from the everyday lineup in this ball game as Jim Hayes joins us. Cardinals off to a 5-1 start, so they've won the series, going for the sweep today, and Mike shuffles up that lineup.
Well, he likes to give guys a day, as he calls it, and even with the injury to Berkman, so we see the ground out. He said he was tempted maybe to put one of those guys back in, but he scripts this out. He had already told Beltran and Freese they were going to get a day. He believes it's really important in terms of getting a mental break, so he didn't want to go back and tell them you're in. He figured the guys he has, he's confident in, and thinks they can win today.
That's very important for the younger players to realize and know that Mike Matheny has confidence in them. As everyone will have a chance to contribute, and if you don't get any bats, it's hard to count on someone.
And these guys that don't play every day are facing a very tough right-hander. Cueto was strong down the stretch last year. He strained a muscle in his back last September 15th. And he actually finished the season 6 innings shy of qualifying for the ERA title. He had a 2.31 ERA last year, and that would have put him second in the NL to Clayton Kershaw, won the Cy Young Award, and actually ahead of Roy Halladay. So gives you an idea just how good this guy can be. Edinson Volquez was shipped to San Diego, and Matt Latos is here now with Cueto and Bailey, Leake, and Arroyo. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Komatsu.
Good for these young guys to get the playing time, as you mentioned, but with giving the veterans a break, Mike said it's early in the season and people might not understand, this early, do people need a break? And he said it's a mental break. It's not a physical thing. Obviously, everyone's still pretty fresh this early in the season, but he thinks it's important to take a day and just get away from the stress and strain as best they can.
Al, as a catcher, I'm not sure that we ever saw Mike Matheny really enjoy himself. He put a lot of pressure on himself. When the pitching staff struggled, he felt a lot of times it was a reflection on him.
Well, Tony and Dave Duncan put so much pressure on their catcher, give him so much more responsibility than others, and Mike being a very conscious individual, he took that just like Yachty does. So first and foremost, the responsibility is handling that pitching staff. And if you can hit a little bit, that's great.
He said that being a catcher does lend itself, after your playing career, to be a manager because you are involved with every play. He said, but there are a lot of position players, as Komatsu pops it up left side again. He said, look, I know a lot of position players, and he talked about Cal Ripken and his positioning and how involved he was. Pitch after pitch after pitch, and scouting reports and video. He said the game has changed even from when I was playing to where these guys they're dialed in, no matter if you're in right field or behind the plate.
But I still agree that the catching position prepares you, for a post-playing career and managerial career better than any other position.
9 pitches this at bat, and this is like watching a leadoff man, which is what Komatsu primarily has done in his career. He's in the 8th spot in the lineup today. And he'll do it again.
Mike was saying that another thing that's an advantage by having been a catcher, the catchers have to be locked in terms of their focus, razor sharp, every second of every game. It's not like every once in a while you see an outfielder mentally wandering away. And he says as a manager, you have to be locked in. He said there's been a couple times this season where he realized he wasn't as locked in. He says, as a manager, though, no one sees that. If you're behind the plate, then everyone does, or if you're just a position player.
And right now there are 10 current managers today that were catchers. Matheny and Boggs, Girardi, just to name a few. Mike Scioscia. How about this at bat?
Having fun. Cueto's kind of smiling, but and then Camacho's all serious. He's trying to protect his batting average. He got a pinch hit in Milwaukee, so he's 1 for 1.
And he's talked about this role. This is where he has to learn to stay sharp. Will not be an everyday player, at least this season.
Rule 5 selection, so he has to stay on the roster the entire year, but he's never played above AA.
Popped up. This one is playable. Cozart. 14 pitches in that at bat. That looms large when you think about trying to get a guy early in the season. May not go deep into a game. Get him out and get into that bullpen.
Well, he's throwing a total of 37 pitches and 14 of them were in that at bat.
Here's Jaime Garcia. The Cardinals own a base hit. That was Descalso back in the second inning, and then he was picked off to end the top half. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mentioned Lance Berkman not in the lineup, dealing with a sore calf.
Lance said he felt some tighten up as he was running out that triple last night. He did stay in the game, actually singled, and then they took him out for a pinch runner when they saw him laboring. He said it was sore this morning. Mike Matheny saying there was no chance that Berkman was going to play today, but with the off day tomorrow, Lance isn't sure if it's anything that's going to require a bunch of days. Right now he's day-to-day hopeful that it'll be sooner than later when he returns.
He said it also didn't help as Garcia hits it down the right field line and just foul. He said it also didn't help that it got down to about 40 degrees, and he said that's when he really felt the pull in the back of his calf.
He felt like if it wasn't cold, there probably wouldn't have been a strain at all anyway. That cold weather did not help Lance Berkman last night.
And it's chilly here this afternoon. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Jaime.
Lance had the finger issue, and Mike Matheny was going to give him a day the other day, and Lance came in and said, no, I'm good to play. Mike said that there was no chance he was going to let Berkman convince him to play today.
That's up the middle and a base hit. Garcia broke his bat, but picks up a base hit in the second hit this afternoon for the Cardinals.
A very good at bat by Camacho, and then Jaime gave him a good battle. And again, set up outside. He reaches for it and realized that from that angle, it looked like that bat was coming right at Cueto, but it really was up the line.
Al, you get the feeling with the Cardinals this year. We've seen it already first weekend. They are a talented bunch, but maybe a fragile bunch. And I say that because it is an older team. Even a guy like Furcal, he hasn't played 100 games in 3 of the past 4 years. And last year he had a fractured left thumb, strained left oblique. So a key for Mike Matheny is trying to, any way he can, keep these guys healthy and in the lineup.
And Garcia is getting a jacket, as we can attest to. He needs one. But yeah, Mike was very cognizant of the age of some of his players. Also the mere fact that they played an extra month, you know, winning the World Championship. So in spring training, he tried to spell a lot of the older players. If they had a little nagging injury, he said, I'm not going to put you back out there till you're fully healthy. And that's why a lot of the young players got extended playing time and fell in love with their new manager.
Inside to Rafael Furcal, who's batting .417. He flied to right first time up. Emergency appendectomy in December, and so his offseason was cut short. By his own admission, he was out of shape when he came to spring training, but Here we are in regular season play, and he's turned it up a notch or two, and he's played good defense. Saw a fantastic play the other night, and he obviously is hitting and producing at the top of the lineup.
He says it's really timing. You mentioned the appendix issue.
That's a fair ball down into the corner. Garcia on his way to third. Furcal to second. They're going to wave him in. Here comes a relay. Garcia to the plate will be safe. The throw is high, and the Cardinals pick up a run here in the third.
Garcia picked up Oquendo before he got to second base. Might have been a little shocked when he got the signal to come on home, but it took Bruce a little time to get the ball down in the corner and around the bullpen area. But he's chugging along here. And then all of a sudden Oquendo gives him the throw. Valdez had a very high throws, assuring that he'd score the run. And both these clubs, when they score first, they win.
Here's John Jay, fly to center. 0 for 1. You know, you go back to the Komatsu at bat, 14 pitches. And what that does to a pitcher, Al, because after that, not as sharp against Garcia. Now the 2-2 for Cal.
And Garcia got a little pretty good look at it, several pitches, too. All of a sudden, this inning, that pitch count has gotten up there.
And by inning, already at 50, but 28 pitches. Here in the third inning for righty Johnny Cueto. And Jaime at 29 thus far this afternoon. Cardinals have not trailed in this series.
The Reds had a combined 7 hits in the first 2 games. They scored 2 runs. One of them was unearned.
Talk about the Cardinals starting rotation, but how big a help when you're staked to an early lead, as the Cardinals have been doing for their rotation.
Several times, you know, the Cardinal pitcher, starting pitcher, by the time you get on the mound, he had a nice little lead. And that is a very comfortable thing for you. You got a little leeway, you can afford to make a mistake, and the Cardinal starters have made very few.
The 2-2. In the air to center field. Stubbs is back at the track, at the wall. It's gone! Over the wall. It's a home run. And Stubbs is slow to get up as he banged against the wall. A 2-run shot, and it's 3-0 Cardinals.
I mentioned that John Jay came into the action today, hitting .533, 8 for 15 with 2 home runs off of Cueto, and he just adds to it. He loses a few points on the average, but he now has 3 home runs against him in 17 at bats. Got the arms extended, had to hit it all the way to the deep part of the field, right on top of the wall. And Stubbs didn't really look comfortable as he banged in there, and probably should have taken another step or 2 before he tried to jump.
And Komatsu again going back to that at bat. 14 pitches, and since then he hasn't been the same. Cueto is Holiday lines out to left. The Cardinals pick up an RBI triple from Furcal, a 2-run homer by Jay midway through 3. The Cardinals put up 3. Facebook.com/Cardinals and send us your email the booth questions. By the way, there is baseball tonight at Busch Stadium. Mizzou and Illinois will play. That heated rivalry between Mizzou and the Fighting Illini. And the game is at 6:30, and tickets are available at the box office. I want to remind people to head on down to check out some baseball tonight at Busch Stadium. Cardinals have jumped out to a 3-0 lead here in the bottom of the third. And Stubbs singles into center field. Well, here's your game within the game. Molina and Stubbs. Great base stealer and a guy that can catch him.
40 stolen bases a year ago for Stubbs, and he'll go against the 4 consecutive Gold Gloves for Yadier Molina. The pitcher pays attention. You almost want them to steal.
Stubbs was 3 for 4 in steals last year against St. Louis, and as Al mentioned, 40 steals on the year out of 50 attempts. The first to have 40 since Deion Sanders. He had 56 back in 1997. That's a base hit into right by Zach Cozart. Staying put, Stubbs at second base, and Votto could tie it up with one swing of the bat.
They love Cozart. And here you see the pitch just out away from him. He shoots for that hole in the right side. One thing I've noticed with Jaime, and it's when he gets a man on, especially if he has base stealing speed, he does a good job of varying his looks, but I think he really splits his concentration maybe a little bit too much at going to the plate and gets himself in trouble.
Runners at first and second and nobody out. Votto singled on an 0-2 pitch his first time up. Since he made his major league debut back in September of 07, Joey Votto is hitting .348 with runners in scoring position, and that is the best in baseball. Jaime going right at him, 0-2. Matter of fact, Votto started off slower in his MVP season of 2010 than what he's done so far this year. So we know he can heat it up.
One of the things we saw in Jaime's first start of the season is his ability, when he hits some rough water, to put it behind him and limit the damage. And he said it's learning from his past. It's basically experience. We'll see how he handles this, but he did a good job in that first start.
And that's a huge step for him, because he's the kind of young man that he pitches much better at home, where he's more accustomed. It's, you know, the time schedule's more under his control. You go on the road, you kind of have to depend on what happens to the, you know, in the first inning. You're sitting there watching. He, you know, when everything goes great for him, he's right on target. He's learning how to work with when things don't go his way. You know, how to shut it down and minimize the damage.
And the numbers don't lie. He had 17 starts on the road last year. ERA of 4.61. Now, remember that one start he had against the Rockies, right? He had 11 earned runs and 3 1/3. You take that out, and his ERA was under 4. Votto with a high fly ball, opposite way. At the track, it's at the wall and caught. No, is it dropped? It's dropped by Holiday. The run will score. They throw to third, and safe. And Descalso can't believe it. And we may get an argument here from Mike Matheny.
Hard to believe that there wouldn't be an argument, as it looked like Cozart slid right into the tag. There's your runner out there. He's going to go halfway. Now, he truly came back to the bag, didn't realize they had been dropped at the wall. And now he comes in here. Hand might have been there, but more times than not, you're going to be called out on this.
No argument from Mike Matheny. Derek Lilliquist out to visit with Garcia, the Cardinals pitching coach.
And I think that's just Derek Lilliquist going out and trying to settle him down. Don't make it look like a carryover. Holliday never really had control of that ball as he was tippy-toeing, reaching at the wall.
Cardinals have held a lead in 45 of 55 innings so far this year. Runners at second and third. Ludwig taps it foul. Mentioned last night he was a pinch hitter and struck out, but the Cardinals saw some pretty productive years of Ryan Ludwig's career. 59 home runs, 2 seasons with the Cardinals. Then he went to San Diego. That was part of the Westbrook deal, but only at 228 at Petco Park. And by his own admission, he said he developed some terrible habits because the ballpark is so big. He said he was pulling off everything. He was trying to get pull happy to yank the ball out of the ballpark, and bad habits developed. Split time with the Padres and Pirates last year and only hit .237.
Last 2 years, he was traded at the deadline. Both years he went to a first place club, and then they went in the tank.
Last year there was the Pirates. May surprise some that the Pirates that late in the season were in first place. Ludwig went there along with Derek Lee, and you're right, they went in the tank.
If you're a hitter looking to rediscover your stroke, being in San Diego is probably the last thing you want to have happen.
3-2. He signed a deal here with the Reds, and they have an option on him for next year. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Change up there and way out in front. A real good guy is Ryan Ludwig, loved by his teammates.
Grandparents are big Reds fans, so he grew up cheering for the Reds. And a swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Garcia.
That's a 300th of Jaime's young career. 300 strikeout, and he needed it with nobody out and runners at second and third. Can't really strike anybody out until you get to 2 strikes. Right now he's got to think of a pop-up in the infield, line drive right at somebody, get 2 strikes, then you try and put them away.
Here's Jay Bruce. Reached on an 0-2 pitch. His first time. He went down to get it on a breaking ball. And he takes a ball inside with Cairo on deck. Runners at second and third. Cardinals lead it 3-1 here in the bottom of the third. Time called by Molina. Well, Dusty Baker and the Reds last year, a real disappointing season for them. 2010 they had made it to the playoffs, but they still have not won a playoff game in the last 16 years, and they finished 79 and 83. The pitching overall, only 4 teams had a worse ERA, so it's one of the reasons why they tried to shore that up.
The bullpen was better than their rotation, and yet they wanted to improve on the bullpen. They had some talented youngsters in the rotation, but they're banking an awful lot on Latos.
1 ball, 1 strike on Jay Bruce.
I don't know how much you guys have talked about it with the new pieces for the Reds. I would have thought there'd be bigger crowds, because I know there was a lot of excitement about how good this team could be, but there haven't been, that we've seen, very big crowds.
It's 16,000 first night. Last night was just over 17, and we'll find out a little later this afternoon what they have today.
Yeah, they've averaged 30, or they've had 34,000 in attendance the first 2 games, and front page was really a challenge to the fans.
Bruce is swinging a miss.
The Castellini family, who is the principal owner of the Reds, have done their part, locking up Votto and Phillips, and now it's up to the fans. It was really the crux of the article on the front page.
They traded 7 young players, and Baseball America had these players ranked 3rd, 4th, 10th, 13th, and 16th prospects in the Red system as they overhauled what they were trying to do to get Latos and the relievers.
How about the job that Jaime has done right here? Work's not complete.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Cairo, ground ball to third. Descalso makes the play, and Garcia limits the damage to just 1 run. Ludwig the strikeout. Then Bruce followed. The ground out by Cairo. 3-1 after 3 here in Cincinnati. The Cardinals, and the Redbirds lead it by the score of 3-1, and he looks at a ball up and away. Carpenter, the minor league player of the year for the Cardinals in 2010.
Great job by Garcia to limit the damage. But you look back and you spend an awful lot of energy with an inning like that.
Carpenter getting a chance to play at his natural spot today, which is first base. We'll not see Berkman today, and let's hope we see him for the home opener on Friday.
I'm sure he'll be ready for Friday. Hopefully it'll be a little warmer weather, and tomorrow the team will have a workout, so he'll get a lot of treatment. He'll want to be in the lineup.
He must think it's cold. Then you have Matt Carpenter, who also is from Texas. No batting gloves. And he rifles one into right field for a base hit. Saw him the first time up, fly to deep left. Good play by Ludwig to make the catch, and then this base hit into right.
Breaking ball and just stays down there in the wheelhouse, down and in. Right where a left-handed hitter loves it.
I mentioned last night how Mark McGwire has worked with Matt Holliday in particular on keeping his hands back, and they've also really done that the last couple of seasons with Yadier Molina. Be fooled on a pitch, might be a weight transfer going forward, but still the hands are back, which allows him many times to put the ball in play.
Remember how many different stances he had early in his career, and worked a lot with Albert to kind of come up with one, and then now with Mark and John Mabry, you all of a sudden now you just kind of get comfortable with that one, and then you refine it. As you said, trust your hands that they'll get to the ball, so keep your weight back.
On the outside corner, 0-2.
Hitters hate to be jammed, and on a cold day like this, you know, it's the way a lot of pitchers like to do. But good hitters never worry about getting jammed because they trust that their hands will come through the hitting zone.
This is where Yadi also has been very good, whether he's going, you know, at a 300 clip or 200 clip with 2 strikes. More times than not, he does put the ball in play. You just hope he avoids the double play.
Yes, one of the tougher batters to strike out. And he has that ability to go the opposite way. So, you know, another reason he's able to do that, because the hands stay back.
Cueto has picked off a man that was Descalso earlier. Short lead at first by Carpenter.
You know, he has that tee-on delivery where he kind of looks back to second out of his windup, but he has quick feet and a quick release when he's out of the stretch. That's why you got to pay close attention when you're the runner at first.
And a swing and a miss. Molina, that rare strikeout. First strikeout for Johnny Cueto. So we're hoping things get serious today, because if the Cardinals score 6, any size drink tomorrow, just 50 cents all day at your nearest On the Run at Mobile. This year's 6 is a serious number. Daniel with a base hit into right, then was picked off. And he takes a fastball in there for a strike. Popped up into shallow right center. Bruce coming on, and he'll make the catch. 2 outs, and it's up to Green. We were talking earlier about Yadi and how proficient he is at throwing base stealers out. Brian Hannigan, behind the plate today for the Reds, has gunned down 36% of base stealers. And he's been a good find for the Reds. Took a while to get to the big leagues. He signed as a non-drafted free agent. Twice he was a Rule 5 guy, but was not picked up, and eventually made his major league debut at 27. But you have 2 very good defensive catchers in the ball game today.
Hannigan this season is allowed 2 stolen bases and thrown out 2 would-be base stealers.
Cueto, one of those guys that didn't spend a lot of time in the minor leagues, made the jump from A ball Dusty Baker arrived on the scene, and Baker said he was impressed in his first spring training watching him. Tom Brown was the pitching coach, Class A team in Sarasota, and recommended to Dusty, you need to take a long look at this guy. Native of the Dominican Republic. Initially was very uneasy with the adjustment to life, the big leagues, and here in the United States. Did not speak English, did Johnny Cueto. A hanger, and Green bangs it into center field.
Great description, Dan. Exactly what it was. And because he had his hands back, he could pull the trigger. Wasn't fooled by the off-speed pitch sitting right up in his eyes.
Komatsu had the long battle first time up. With 14 pitches, here's a look at that swing.
See, he's got that mechanism where he lifts the leg up, but he recognized that it was a hanging breaking ball and had the hands back so he could pull the trigger.
Now, we've talked a lot about the big deals of Votto and Phillips, but you look ahead, this Reds team could be intact for years to come if they want it to be that way. You know, Cueto's another guy that's been given an extension. They have a club option on him for 2015 if they wanted to keep him around that long. Jay Bruce signed an extension. Composure is something they've been working on since day one with Cueto, and they really felt that he turned the corner last year and matured on the mound.
He had a tendency to let his emotions get the best of him, and I guess we saw his emotions at the worst. This is the first matchup between Garcia and Cueto since that fight.
1 ball, 1 strike. Before and after the brawl, August 10th of 2010, Johnny Cueto.
See, since then he's kind of maybe had a little more motivation to pitch well against the Cardinals. There was no doubt he was talented, but getting his emotions in check. It's kind of interesting that they traded Boggs. And I think at a few years ago they rated him higher than Cueto.
Saw the pitch count already close to 80. We're only in the 4th. Here's a 3-1.
Talking about all the players that they have locked up for future years, a lot of young talent. He's going to be the manager. Dusty's on the last year of his contract.
Komatsu slices one foul. He said when he was in San Francisco, George Seifert, then of the 49ers, retired. And George said his advice to Dusty is don't do it. Don't retire. He said, I missed it. I had to get back in, and I left a very good team and a good organization at the time. And he told Dusty, don't do it.
You know, I told that to my managers, and they said, no,
right,
you're through.
A little different.
A couple of them thought I was through while I was still pitching.
The 3-2 is popped up again. Hannigan giving chase and out of play. So here we go again in the battle with Komatsu and Cueto again. The first at bat, if you missed it, back in the 3rd inning, was 14 pitches.
Eventually got him to pop up to short, but look right after that at bat, there were 3 straight hits, and the Cardinals scored their 3 runs. So 21 pitches out of the 78 thrown. Komatsu has seen.
He had seen a total of 15 major league pitches prior to his last at bat, which then was 14. Broke his bat here to second. Valdez makes the play, and the Cardinals strand a couple. From Illinois, this is Jacob. Is there a picture of the replica rings they are giving out on Saturday? And Jacob, we've caught you if you haven't been watching the last couple of nights, because we have these right here in Cincinnati. And a lot of the fans spoke after the 2006 World Series going into 07 with those replica rings that they wanted to be able to actually wear the ring. Well, you see the one on the right of your screen. The ones in 07 to celebrate 06 did not come out of that base. So they said, all right, let's make sure we take it out of the base and you can wear it around town wherever you go. And so that's what we have. And good seats are being returned by the Cubs and Major League Baseball for the game on Saturday. So you may have heard it is sold out. It will be, but there are tickets that do get returned to the Cardinals, and just head to Cardinals.com to get opening day seats and seats on Saturday. We'll have the pennant giveaway on Sunday. So this weekend against the Cubs is loaded up. 1-1 pitch to Valdez, trying to bunt his way on. It's a beauty. It's a beauty, and a leadoff base hit. He's 2 for 2.
Boy, watch how he runs on the dirt, well out on the grass. For a right-handed batter, it is impossible for you to not be in foul territory. But once again, PFP, it's a real tough one when you've got that kind of speed like Valdez. A little late start by Jaime, but I don't think it would have made a difference.
And a strike to Ryan Hannigan, who singled his first time up.
Did you see what I'm talking about there?
Oh, yeah.
With a right-handed batter, and a push bunt like that, he's going to run way out on the grass, and it's almost impossible for him to stay in the running lanes. But you never get called for it.
We haven't seen Furcal do that from the left side of the plate, where he gets that little running start and just kind of chops at it and hits it the other way. We haven't seen him do that this year. And rarely, if ever, do you see him try to bunt from the right side. But you're exactly right. Going down the line, I mean, he's a good foot or two into the grass.
Yep. And again, kind of with an open stance. Looks like they believe he's going to pull the ball in the infield.
By the way, Al, we should mention that the Reds will be in town after the Chicago Cubs. So next week we're going to see them right back at it again at Busch Stadium. We talked so much last year about dynamic deals, and fans, the best way to get those, because we've had a lot of phone calls about that, is to go to Cardinals.com and see the dynamic deal. And this week it is that Red Series, 3 games starting on Tuesday night. There's a swing and a miss, and Hannigan strikes out.
Well, I'm just impressed with Jaime as he has just come up here. You know, things working against him that bothered him last year. Well, he's showing that poise and really keeping his concentration and really bearing down after a guy gets on base.
And you wonder, last year or the year before, with second and third, having just allowed the double, which may have could have been caught by Holiday, if he would have unraveled, and he didn't do that. Here's Cueto. One ball, one strike. What a weekend in St. Louis. It starts with the playoff game tomorrow night, the Blues and Sharks, right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Home opener on Friday.
Good luck to the Blues. A lot of the Cardinal players have become big Blues fans, and sure on the off day tomorrow, a lot of the guys will be in attendance.
And that's strike 2. The Cardinals will hold a workout at Busch Stadium, albeit brief, and then get ready for the Cubbies on Friday.
Not that they're looking ahead, but they are all anxious for that off day on Monday. Kind of get acclimated. Some of the new guys find housing.
And the bunt is down with 2 strikes. Molina takes charge and makes the play. Green covering at first. Sacrifice is good, and there's 2 away, and it brings in Stubbs. Sack 2-4 on the play.
For a couple weak attempts trying to bunt, he finally did get the bat out in fair territory and dropped it down. 176 average, but you got to pay a lot of attention to Mr. Stubbs.
And that's at the knees for a strike. 1-1.
Jaime keeps that ball down. He just has great movement on all of his pitches.
And did he go? Yes, he did. Stubbs has fly to right, and Singleton scored in the 3rd.
6 for 19 off of Jaime with a home run and a couple RBIs, but now Jaime's showing how he's bearing down with the man in scoring position.
On the inside corner and a strikeout. Garcia with strikeout number 4, 2 in the inning. The Reds, they have stranded 6 already. We head to the 5th. It's 3-1. World champions on top. .com/fan guide for a chance to win a VIP experience for two this year at a Major League Baseball All-Star Game and World Series game presented by Scott's, the official lawn care company of MLB. Jim Hayes, Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you, and Jaime Garcia leads it off on a chilly afternoon here in Cincinnati. Garcia, Fractal, and Jay. Jaime singled and scored back in the third inning. We talked a lot about how the Cardinals have scored early in games. Rarely have they trailed this year. They've also picked up a lot of two-out RBIs. There's a strikeout. The second for Johnny Cueto.
Cueto's allowed 6 hits to the Cardinals. Garcia 8. Reds only had 7 hits combined in the first 2 games of this series.
34-year-old shortstop switch hitter Rafael Fractal. RBI triple back in the third. And scored on the 2-run homer by John Jay. Oh, and he's hit by the pitch. Tomorrow night, Fox Sports Midwest celebrating the Blues back in the playoffs. And a rally will be held tomorrow outside Scottrade Center. Our coverage begins at 6 with Blues Live. Nothing like it. Playoff hockey, and we've got it for you right here on your home of the Blues and Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest.
Cold afternoon. That couldn't have felt good in hitting the back by Fractal.
Blues have a very good goaltender, 2 of them, and Halak and Elliott. And upper body injury has been classified for Elliott, so let's hope he's going to be all right.
The All-Star.
Ken Hitchcock has done just a wonderful job with the franchise and turning things around very quickly early on this season. Be a lot of fun tomorrow night at Scottrade Center. Jay going the other way, a liner that's caught by Ludwig.
So Jay hit that ball good. It just hung up for him.
2 outs, and Holiday will be the hitter.
Matt got off to the great start last season, except for the appendectomy after the first game, but he was leading the National League at the end of April with an average over 400.
And he singles up the middle. Matt comes from a baseball family. 32-year-old from Stillwater, Oklahoma. His dad played baseball at Miami. His brother Josh was in the Blue Jays system. Matter of fact, his uncle was a scout for, and still is, I believe, for the Colorado Rockies. They call him Doc Holliday.
Brother is a collegiate coach as well as his father, right?
Right. That's inside to Carpenter.
I just think it's great that Matt, who now makes his home year-round in St. Louis, is getting involved in the community and doing a lot of charitable work. He and his buddy Freeze have teamed up to help Cardinal Glennon Hospital.
It's the Homers for Health program that they have at Cardinal Glennon. Fans can make a pledge in 25-cent increments for every home run the Cardinals hit. Runners at first and second. And I know Matt and David with their families many times unannounced would show up at children's hospitals throughout St. Louis. They did not want the fanfare nor cameras around. They just wanted to do it for the right reasons.
Well, and we are so fortunate with the great hospitals, particularly the children's hospitals in the St. Louis area.
Matt, like many of these guys that get to this level, is such a great athlete. He was rated as the #2 quarterback coming out of high school in Stillwater. and decided to make baseball his love and his choice of sports. That was back in 1997. He does not look like a guy that would get under center. He looks like a guy that might be the center. Holiday is in just tremendous condition. And I think, Al, that's one of the reasons why the Cardinals felt comfortable going long term with Matt, because of the condition he's in.
Not afraid to work.
Not at all. The check swing, and he went. Carpenter strikes out. 2 in the inning, 3 in the game. The 5-time All-Star, Matt Holliday. For baseball's best fans, and you can start your subscription right now. You can call 314-345-9303. Matter of fact, right now, pick up the phone. You can ask for Gabe. I bet he is standing by at the ballpark, and they're saying up here, oh yeah, right, he won't. No, right now, pick up the phone, 314-345-9303, and Gabe will pick up that phone and take your order. How about that?
Gabe, huh?
That's right. Cardinals.com too.
Does Gabe know he's going to pick up the phone?
He better. That's past Descalso and into left field. Cozart on his way to second. He'll stop. Nice throw by Holliday.
He left the batter's box thinking too, but when Matt got over that quickly, came up firing, had pulled on the brakes, stays with a single, and that was a strong throw from Holliday.
This is ruled a base hit. It got past Descalso. Not sure if he got a glove on it or not.
No, I don't think he did, but he was shot past him quickly and didn't have much reaction time.
That's hit out of play by Joey Votto. It's Cardinals Magazine. They also have a commemorative issue out, which has some of the locker room photos and visit to the White House as well. And the first game day magazine, or Cardinals magazine of the season, will be on displays at the ballpark this weekend. Votto with a base hit out to left. So the first two have reached. Let's see if Jaime can pitch out of this jam. He's done it once before today. Ricky back in St. Louis is standing by, and he will answer questions at foxsportsmidwest.com. Go to Jack in the Box, Ask the Expert, and Rick will chat with you.
4 of the 5 innings, the leadoff man has reached base via a base hit.
Ludwig has struck out today and also grounded out.
His pinch hit appearance last night and a strikeout, and here again today. Just doesn't look comfortable. He can get in some ugly funks. Real streaky guy, and when he's hot, he can carry a ball club. But when he's not swinging the bat well, a lot of strikeouts can pile up.
What do you think? A true low ball hitter in Ludwig?
No doubt about it. Great story when he had all the success in St. Louis with all the injuries and everything that he had, as Victor Marte starts warming up.
It's taken low and away.
3-1.
Mentioned that Ludwig grew up a fan of the Reds. He said this is a dream come true. His favorite player, Eric Davis, growing up. The 3-1 pitch. Bases loaded. Bruce today has singled and struck out.
Three for 18 against Jaime. If you don't make a good pitch, make a mistake, he can really hurt you. 32 home runs a year ago.
Pitch count just over 70 now at 74 for Garcia. Remember back in the third, 3 consecutive hits to start that inning, and they only picked up 1 run. Garcia was able to get out of that jam, and now the bases are loaded and nobody out. 0-1 to Bruce. In the air to center. Runners will tag up. That's the first out of the inning. Runners from second to third. Third to the plate. And it's 3-2. RBI for Jay Bruce. His 6th on the year to lead their club.
And the key factors there is on the deep fly ball to center field, you still have Ludwig at first base, so the double A is in order.
And Cairo is hit into a double play, 4-6-3 back in the second inning, and also grounded out to third. You know, Garcia has never allowed a grand slam.
There you go, Dan.
And he still hasn't after the last at bat.
Well, and he won't do it right now either. His bases are unloaded, but you know, that's one of those things. If you pitch long enough, you probably will.
We have seen quite the St. Louis connection with Cincinnati. Walt Jocketty, he's had Jerry Walker, Cam Bonifay, Marty Meyer, Mike Squires, and John Morris. Remember John Morris?
Sure. The outfielder.
Yeah, they're all in the front office. Minor league managers. Jim Riggleman, by the way, is with Cincinnati.
He's double A, I believe.
David Bell, Delino DeShields. They're all managers. Then the coaches are Tony Fossis, Ted Power, Rigo Beltran, Mark Riggins, and Eli Marrero is now a coach in the minor leagues.
Wow. Yeah, that's not the first time.
We haven't even talked about the players.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, in the 60s there was a mass defection of Cardinal personnel that went to the Reds. Bob Housen, Sparky Anderson, Chief Bender, Vern Rapp.
Carpenter over. Nice play by Carpenter. And the runner from third thought about tagging up. That's Votto, and wisely gets back. That last one out, who was that?
Vern Rapp.
Yeah. Can't even believe you're able to say his name.
What did you tell me last night? The last time a 5-1 team on the road started out was 1977 with Vern Rapp. There's a nice play by Carpenter. And then he remembers there's a runner at third. So you can see he couldn't hesitate at all. And that stopped Votto.
I also said, before I say this, Al, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Valdez is 2 for 2 with a single to left, and he also bunted his way on back in the fourth. Good speed.
It looked like he wanted to start running before he swung at that one. He was acquired in January from the Phillies.
And again trying to bunt his way on. He'll do it. The second time he has done it. And in doing so, he picks up an RBI and ties the game up. It's 3-3.
His first RBI of the year, and I said that he looked like he was trying to run before he made contact and pushes the bunt. You see how the momentum from the lefty Garcia pulls him towards the third base line, and really Tyler Green really tried to come in there and make the do-or-die play, but it was just perfectly placed. And Mike Matheny may make the pitching change right now, or at least settle him down.
Yeah, he's just made the motion now to the bullpen as Garcia slammed down the rosin bag behind him, as he knew this was coming. So that's going to be it for the lefty. Runners at first and second. Pitching change when we come back. It's 3-3. His prescription from Schnucks for a healthy and successful Cardinals season. It's Cardinals Live after the game right here on Fox Sports Midwest. So Dr. Horton is coming up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chevrolet. It's Victor Marte. He was roughed up in his first appearance this year. He had 31 saves at Memphis last year. Big league experience with Kansas City. And with only 81 pitches, Garcia removed here in the fifth, Al, and you wonder if, Mike Matheny sensed that frustration and just wanted to pull him and calm things down.
He did allow 11 hits and a walk. And just, as you said, you got the 8th place hitter, but right now you have the tie ball game, and maybe you can restore a little order. Victor Marte had, as you mentioned, 31 saves last year to lead the Pacific Coast League. Does have a little big league experience with Kansas City. That was a few years ago, but one thing he was 3-0 with Kansas City in 2010 with an ERA over 9 and gave up a lot of home runs.
Willie Harris has moved to the on-deck circle. The tails back in, but low, and may have crossed up Molina.
Yeah. One day we'll bring you this replay and see how whenever you see a catcher catch the ball so awkwardly like that, as he's expecting something different.
Bases loaded, and the hitter will be Willie Harris. You know, Tony did that last year in Game 5 of the LCS. Garcia had 2 outs in the 4th inning. Runner on second, and Tony La Russa lifted him for Octavio Dotel to face Ryan Braun. The move paid off. Cardinals win the game.
Remember how unusual that series was, where the Cardinal relievers recorded more outs than the starters.
Right.
And they won the series.
Walk by Marte. Bases loaded for Willie Harris. So Cueto's out of this game, and Marte should be out of this inning. John Jay is there and puts it away. Molina, Descalso, and Green coming up. 3-3 after 5. Live Moss. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. All tied up. It's 3-3 as we head to the top of the 6th, and Yadier Molina will face Arredondo. We've seen him in this series. This is our Chevy call to the pen. Some boos for Yadi all series long.
They're trying to boo him.
Yadi has fly to center and also struck out swinging. That pitch inside. So Garcia today knocked out of the game, as well as Johnny Cueto. The starters don't go very deep. It's up to the bullpens.
This pitcher, Jose Arredondo, was formerly Francisco de la Cruz.
And it's a leadoff walk to Molina. That's not how you endear yourself to Dusty Baker. See if Descalso will bunt. Such a fundamentally sound player. Mike Matheny may do that here.
It's kind of one of those things because of Molina running.
There's the bunt by Descalso, and Yachty winds up at second.
To make a good bunt, Descalso does so when Yachty gets down there scoring position.
You know, Al, Dusty Baker took a lot from the media and fans, especially in Chicago, for how he handled the big three of Maddox, Pryor, and Wood, especially the latter two. And recently, Greg Maddux came out and said, you know, that's a joke for people to criticize Dusty Baker and how he handled pitch counts, pitching staff, or running young players into the ground, pitchers. But his quote was, that's a joke. He said it wasn't his fault that these guys got hurt. And that's been a knock on Dusty and how he deals with pitching staffs.
Yes, and I've talked to Dusty about it, and he stated to me, hey, they were hurt before I got there.
See, the second baseman is trying to keep Molina tight at second base, and doing that could have potential play at the plate on a base hit.
You're absolutely right. It's a smart to do that, you know, keep him really close where base hit to the outfield, there's no guarantee he's going to score. Now he gets a little head of steam, he gets a little better, but
in the air to right field, it's slicing foul.
By today's standards, you'd probably say these three outfielders are above average.
I always thought Ludwig was well above average.
Well, that's what I mean, but all three of them. But we know Ludwig has a strong arm. Bruce has a strong arm. Stubbs has all the ability. So charge the ball and come up throwing. Maybe the difference is going to be accuracy.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Aaron Dondo in relief of Johnny Cueto went 5 innings. 7 hits, 3 runs, all were earned. Struck out 3, allowed the home run to Jay, a 2-run shot, and also hit a man. That was for Cal. Votto is over. Does he have a play? 3-4 rows deep. The other side, Jaime Garcia, 4 2/3. 11 hits, 3 runs, all earned. Walked 1 and struck out 4.
Pretty much straight away in the outfield. Maybe you touch the pole in the infield.
Check swing and strikeout of Green. You can join Matt Holliday at the Cardinals Kids Club presented by Rawlings. $25 and kids will get tickets, promotional items, and more. Sign up right now at cardinals.com/kids.
This could be a big at bat right here if you can extend the inning. Pitcher spot, and Beltran is at the on deck circle. Middle infielders aren't paying attention to Yachty, and he's getting a big secondary lead out there. It's one way he can do whatever he can to help out with a ball hit to the outfield and make it a real decision for Oquendo whether to send him home. See the bleed he's getting to the point where Hannigan tried to bluff the throw back.
7th appearance for Arredondo against the Cardinals in his career. He's actually 2-0. 3rd appearance of the season. He's pitched in a couple of losses already this year against Miami and against the Cardinals. Walked 2, gave up 3 earned runs.
He was a young man that was in the Angels organization. Had Tommy John surgery, and they saw the power arm, signed him.
Komatsu pops it up on the infield. Cairo is there. The Cardinals strand a runner. St. Louis has left 5 on. Tied up. It's 3-3. To support Boys and Girls Club of America. It's a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Throughout the season, you'll be seeing us wear our pins to support that endeavor. Having some fun at the old ballpark on a chilly afternoon as Marte works in his 2nd inning in relief of Garcia.
Marte had a very good spring, was sent down towards the end, and then was purchased. His contract was purchased on Friday when Scott Linebrink went on the disabled list.
It's interesting to see how managers deal with their bullpens. As we're at the top of the lineup, and Stubbs is 1 for 3, for instance. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter how you want to look at it, but Tony La Russa, many times in 16 years, you didn't see this. You didn't see a reliever go back out for the 2nd inning.
Like we had last night with Mitchell Boggs, pitched the 7th inning and then 8th inning. There was 6 up, 6 down, looked, dynamite. Just he's been a little pet project with Mike Matheny, winning his confidence back.
Tough play. He makes it look easy. Rafael for a call. He is smooth at short.
I knew it was an easy play for Ralphie. Still's got that power arm. Off balance throw. Got a speedy runner going down the line, and he had plenty to get him out.
Talking with Mitchell in the clubhouse today, Alan. I said, how about that? Last night you were left in to face Joey Votto. You had a situation where you could go and get Zipchinski and have that matchup, or Romero, and instead Mike stayed with Mitchell Boggs, and he said, my sinker feels about as good as it can get right now. And he's throwing that power sinker. We mentioned it last night, how Mitchell's really been on top of the ball. That's something that they've been working on to try to get the most out of his sinker by staying on top.
Little mechanisms where changing things a little bit to where, you know, his lower half is in sync with his upper body.
Marte steps and throws. AT&T trivia question: since 1921, what is the highest single game run total the Cardinals have scored without a home run? It was 23 back in 1926.
'26 was a good year for the Cardinals, if my memory serves me.
And going back to what you were talking about with Mitchell Boggs, I mean, you're talking about him flying open and not being on top.
Right. You know, I was talking a little bit with Kyle McClellan yesterday. He found a little thing. Watching some video that, you know, he noticed when he was throwing well a couple years ago, his leg, he was lifting it higher, you know, allowing his arm to catch up. You know, if your lower half is out in front, then your arm's dragging and the ball has a tendency to stay up. You can't stay on top of it, get that good movement. It's what we call repeatable delivery.
Joey Votto 3 for 3. Single back in the first, double and an RBI in the third, and another single in the fifth with a run scored. The 1-2 pitch to Votto. The guy that we have not mentioned his name on this road trip is Scott Linebrink, the 35-year-old who was fabulous in spring training with a 1.69 ERA. Made the club and then hurt his shoulder, so it gives Victor Marte from AAA Memphis a chance.
Yeah, I thought it was very curious, and I talked to Scott about it, but with all the power arms that the Cardinals had, and you know, I kind of found it curious. Why would you come to the Cardinals? Try and win a job. But he did so, and you know, he's 10+ years of major league experience. He's going to be a big benefit to those younger players in the pen.
Right down the middle, and Votto looks at a called third strike. And everybody with a hit, with the exception of Yadier Molina and Eric Komatsu. Cardinals with that 2-run homer by John Jay, and at that point in time put them on top 3-0, and Cincinnati has come back to tie it up. It's 3-3. This is Shane Robinson, who will be the pinch hitter against Arredondo, his second inning of work.
And he had a great day on Sunday. 3 hits, including his first major league home run.
Shane is 27 from Tampa, Florida, and a 5th-round selection in 06.
But he had over 100 steals at Florida State.
Off the glove of Arredondo to second, and they just get him by a half step. One, 4-3 on the putout. Back to the top of the lineup in Rafael Furcal. Speaking of stolen bases, over 300 in his career.
Kind of goes a jump up there, but then lost sight of it and just kind of deflected it ever so slightly to his second baseman.
Mentioned it last night. The Cardinals led the league in runs scored a season ago, but fewest in the major leagues from their leadoff men. And Furcal trying to change that this season. He's 1 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch. And tripled. Picked up an RBI back in the 3rd.
He was a real difference maker when he came over at the trade deadline last year. Defensively, didn't contribute an awful lot. I think it was 255 as a Cardinal hitter. Did have some home runs against Milwaukee, but you can get him anything back to where he was when he broke in with Atlanta. We got something.
Ned Colletti, the GM of the Dodgers, essentially gave Furcal 24 hours to decide whether or not to accept the trade to St. Louis, and Rafi knew that his time with the Dodgers was up, especially down the stretch last year. They have D. Gordon, who's their shortstop of the present and the future. They wanted to see him. He's a speedster. This has popped up into foul territory. 2 away.
You know, Rafi also, in his 12 years playing baseball, 10 times his team has qualified for postseason.
Isn't that something? Our Nissan drive of the game off the bat of John Jay.
Center field. 2-run home run, giving the Cardinals the 3 runs.
That'll be it for Arredondo, and Dusty Baker goes to his bullpen. John Jay coming up when we come back. This spring, and this will be his second appearance. 1 walk, a couple of strikeouts, a 3-3 ball game here in the top of the 7th.
Those numbers you saw were what he did against the Cardinals on Monday. Or on Wednesday now, right?
You got it.
baseball season. One day just like another.
There's John Jay, who was homered, facing the lefty Bray.
Bray led the Reds staff and second in the National League with a career high 79 appearances.
Well, you got late innings here, and Dusty Baker going with a lefty-lefty with a 3-3 ball game, so not taking any chances with John Jay, who had 297 last year after an even 300 the year before.
Dusty has a lot of confidence in Bray, Chapman, the other lefty, Sean Marshall, a lefty, who's their closer. As you see, Kyle McClellan in the bullpen, and Andrusik. Those are the ones he has most confidence in.
Remember, John used to have the hands that were going up and down. We call them helicopter hands, up and down, and those are a little bit more settled as opposed to the way they were a few years ago. That's his trigger mechanism that just gets him ready to go.
That's right. Do all those things, but at some point you got to get quiet with the hands and then get into a position where you can pull the trigger.
Like I said before, he's a guy that kind of, he's not a star right now, and he's got stars to his right and left in the outfield, but he appeared in a team high 159 games last year. Very consistent. And he draws the walk.
Good at bat there.
Well, we haven't seen Chapman in this series, and you wonder if Dusty will go back to his bullpen here with Holiday coming up.
Now they sign Ryan Matson as a free agent to be their closer, and then lost him for the season with Tommy John.
So Bill Bray comes in to face one man, and he walked him. Holiday coming up to do some damage when we come back. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of your St. Louis Cardinals. That's StubHub. 6'8", 230-pounder out of Texas, Logan Andrusik. He's got a split finger, and he's got the fastball. Occasionally mixes in a changeup. This will be his 4th appearance, and good numbers for Holiday against the big righty.
This could be very interesting because he's Andrusik. He's a pretty good setup man. Had a good spring, particularly at the end. He had a 3.23 ERA last year in 61 appearances. But if Holiday reaches, and all of a sudden, with the left-handed hitting Carpenter up, and you've got to bring in Chapman, he really has only has Sean Marshall to finish this ball game, and we're in the 7th. He has other pitchers, but I'm sure that these are the ones he has most confidence in.
Skies one to left. Ludwig under it. Makes the catch. Time to stretch here in Cincinnati, the Queen City. Tied up 3-3. Ludwig coming up when we come. Samardzija, the former wide receiver for Notre Dame, now pitcher for the Cubs against Adam Wainwright. And it's our Budweiser What's on Tap. And again, those gates will open just before noon, so get there early in downtown St. Louis. Florissant, Missouri native. Grew up a Cardinal fan, Kyle McClellan, so you know that's always a special day for him. Opening day in St. Louis, and the Cubs, they themselves have had issues in the back end of their bullpen.
Wood and Marmol have kind of struggled a little bit. Samardzija had a great first start. He almost had a complete game. As I said, Kyle McClellan thinks he found something. The other day, watching some video, he felt like he was not lifting his front leg as high as he had in previous years, and that caused his arm to kind of drag a little bit, and he couldn't stay on top of his pitches.
Oh, check swing to the right side, and Tyler Green makes the play. Picked out of the dirt by Carpenter. You never know, Al, where they're watching day baseball, and we've heard from folks that are sitting around waiting for jury duty, and they're watching the game. Some way, somehow, you find a TV and find us on Fox Sports Midwest.
Which state?
All over the place. Here's Jay Bruce, and he looks at a strike.
So what case is your brother working on?
No. Hear from fans the oddest places sometimes, that they say, I was keeping score and I missed this, or I was watching here. I'd like to know about what happened with that scenario.
I'll let my imagination get the best of me now.
There's Aroldis Chapman.
And I mean, in a tie ball game, you've got Chapman for the 8th inning. You've got Marshall for the 9th.
And you've got Green again. 2 away.
You just wonder if it goes extra innings, who Dusty has confidence in down there. But Cure, something like that. But Simon we saw.
Here's Miguel Cairo, who is 0 for 3. You know, Kyle McClellan, when you think about his spring training, I would imagine he didn't even think he'd be with the Cardinals at this point. That's a foul ball. And I say that because of all the rumors of his name being part of trades for various teams, and yet here he is pitching for the Cardinals. And before it's all said and done, it'll be a vital role out of the bullpen.
No doubt. I was talking with Bruce Keeson, former big league pitcher and pitching coach, and I said, "Who you with now?" And he goes, "Baltimore." And I said, "Oh, you're here to watch McClellan?" And he goes, "Well, he was one that I was told to watch in spring training." And I said, "Well, he's got very good stuff." And Bruce was talking about the versatility, why he is a hot commodity, but sometimes good trades are the ones you don't make.
Two balls and one strike on Cairo. And the versatility that you speak of is starting or relieving.
Starting, relieving, setup, spot, close out a ball game, get a save, pitch in between, long man.
Another one of those guys that has had Tommy John and come back and pitched effectively, and he walks Cairo.
There are 2 outs, but boy, late in the ball game, tie games, those walks are the last thing a manager wants to see. You got to give this little kid credit. He's 3 for 3 today. You could see how he could get under the skin of certain pitchers with his bunting.
And that's taken low. See McClellan just kind of jumping to the plate a little bit, maybe a little too quick, Al.
Well, like I said, he felt like he was not lifting his front leg up high enough. Now, and that's what he said. He kind of got in the habit because of runners on, trying to combat the steal, so you get more of a slide step, trying to guard against that. But it does alter your motion going to the plate, and in his case, his arm was dragging a little bit by not lifting the leg high enough, and then he wasn't executing the pitches the way he wanted to.
He also has moved on the pitching rubber. He was telling me that spring training he moved a little bit more towards the third base side of the rubber. Felt more comfortable on that side. Not as pronounced as some, but definitely more towards third base.
Yeah, the illusion to get inside on right-handed batters.
Backhanded by Descalso, and a strong throw across the diamond. We played 7, tied up 3-3. It's Midwest. Let's go to our studio with this Bomberitos Sports Update. All right, great job, Pat. I know you're busy. This is your favorite time of the year. Blues hockey tomorrow night right here on Fox Sports Midwest with Game 1 of the playoffs and then the home opener for the Cardinals on Friday. Win, lose, draw, whatever the case may be, it's always fun to watch this guy pitch. Aroldis Chapman. He of the 106-mile-an-hour fastball. And we bring that up because he hit, apparently, 106 on the gun, but it was shown to the crowd here at the Great American Ballpark, and some believe that was maybe the worst thing that could have been done, because then he was trying to get to 107, 108, and so on and so on.
Yeah, Chapman and Scott Rowland will come into the game. He plays third base, but Chapman's fastball is rated by managers the best in the National League. Now, they say he is starting to think a little better and get away from trying to go to the 107. He's trying to now pitch between 96 and 100, which is plenty fast enough, and have a little better command. He did work 2 innings on Sunday and only threw 28 pitches. So that's a drastic change. And, you know, last year at times he had to go to the minor leagues because he couldn't throw strikes.
One of those games was against the Cardinals, and
that was painful to watch.
I was about to say it was uncomfortable to watch. You know, he just could not get it over the plate, and it wasn't anywhere close. So Carpenter faces Chapman here. One thing about Chapman to go along with that fastball is a devastating slider. It is absolutely awesome when he's right.
Well, that's why, you know, still a controversy here. Should he be in the rotation? But they almost felt like they were forced to put him back in the bullpen because they lost Matheny, who is projected to be their closer. Nick Massett is on the disabled list. He could come off as early as yesterday, but did not. Right-handed reliever, you know, has shoulder problems. I saw a pro and con column in the paper today about should he be in the rotation or should Homer Bailey.
Well, Chapman, in his brief major league career, opponents have hit just 158 against him. He's averaged 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. On the outside corner, that'll add to it. Strikeout of Carpenter to start the 8th.
Carpenter didn't like the call. He thought it was ball 4, and he had a legitimate complaint. But you're a rookie, you can't say anything.
Well, overall against the Cardinals, with that strikeout, 6 in the 3rd, 7 earned runs, 10 walks, and an ERA over 10. So we have not seen a very effective lefty in Chapman.
You can see how the crowd comes alive when he's out there, and they get a kick out of trying to see someone throw triple digits.
Chapman is in year 3 of a 6-year contract after he defected from Cuba July of 2009. And I thought Walt made a very interesting point when he's been asked about Chapman. He said, we're just trying to get to know him even right now. He said, when you sign a Cuban defector, you solely are signing him on his ability and what you see, but you have no idea the kind of person you may be getting. You get somebody with some guts to do what they've done, but it's not like you've had a conversation with Aroldis Chapman before he signed. Yachty
goes down swinging, and rears back and throw it, but with some command, and you don't see Yachty often swing like that. He's got a pair of strikeouts today.
Brian Price, the pitching coach, is likened him to Randy Johnson. And Brian had Randy in his late 20s, and he said he finally was able to master the strike zone by about the age of 29.
Well, lefties traditionally sometimes are a little slower than, in maturing than right-handers.
Is that on and off the field, Al? Or?
I think so. I took the stats way up off the field, but it's tough enough when you throw as well as he does, but when you're getting the benefit of a wide strike zone. Umpires become fans too, and they get caught up in a guy like Chapman. I think all three batters that Chapman's got one gift strike from the umpire.
Three and two.
Just nice and easy, and it just ball explodes. Got those long arms and that whip action.
He's 6'4", 200 pounds. Waiting, grab some buds. By Burger King, the proud sponsor of opening week baseball. And by Schnucks Pharmacy, the smart choice. And we're underway in the Reds' half of the eighth here at the Great American Ballpark. A 3-3 game, second inning of work for Kyle McClellan. A breaking ball is lifted in the air to right for the first out. The sun. Yes, it's here. Peeking through the clouds as Scott Rowland digs in for the first time. Just the fourth time that Aroldis Chapman has faced three batters in an inning and struck out all three. With this kind of dominating stuff, you would think that would happen all the time.
Well, but I think it just tells you how many walks.
Yeah.
They don't have a high batting average against him, so it's got to be those walks that Scott Rowland got the day off on Sunday, and then got the game-winning hit single to drive in the game winner, his 10th walk-off base hit of his career.
Yeah, that pitch and that swing right there, it just looks like he's fighting it out with that shoulder.
Yeah, he says he feels great. You know, he had his 4th shoulder operation last year. It was on his non-throwing arm, his left arm. But it still looks a little stiff.
There's the breaking ball, and there goes Roman, who's hitting just 125 right now.
Knees buckled on that one, didn't they?
Yes. They said that McClellan's curveball was very good this spring. Once again, Ricky Horton standing by at his computer. And during the ball game from here on out, Jack in the Box ask the expert, and you can chat with Rick. FoxSportsMidwest.com. There's a line drive and a base hit into right. Now, we've talked about how the Reds have had a lot of walk-off wins the last couple of years. Last year, they were victimized on the other side. They saw the most against them.
Yeah, they don't really advertise that one. Right?
No, they don't.
And Sean Marshall, who we would assume would be getting the most save opportunities. But, you know, it's kind of one of those deals. If you bring him in and you go extra innings, you know, now you're down to, you have bodies down there, but not the ones that you have a lot of confidence in.
Here's Zach Cozart, who is 2 for 4, a pair of singles and a run scored.
And I'm sure the way Chapman was used in spring training when they were trying to decide whether he's going to be a starter or not, they could stretch him out.
Do you treat him with kid gloves, though, and you say, all right, here's a great outing that you've had today, and let's, ooh, nice move. You know, close the book on today and let him build on that.
I understand what you're saying, and I would think maybe a year ago you would probably treat him with those kid gloves, but now, because of some of the injuries to the right-handers, you got to go with him, and you got to extend him out a little bit if they don't take the lead.
A little longer lead this time. Fly ball right center. That will stay in the ballpark. Catch is made by Jay. Good work by Kyle McClellan. We're tied up. It's 3-3 as we head to the ninth. .672. And coming up after the game, it's Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. It'll be Pat Paris and Rick Horton. Rick has been busy today on the keyboard, and then he'll shift over to the studio and help Pat out for the post-game show, and Jim Hayes will have a live guest, and you'll also hear from Mike Matheny. You know, it's interesting here about Dusty Baker. If you're closer by committee, I guess that's one way to look at it and how you approach getting a reliever up. But if Sean Marshall is your closer, Al, the rule of thumb normally is that if he's up getting loose, whoever that he is, he's coming into the game. And we've seen Marshall up and throw already today.
Well, you just hope there's a lot of communication and explain to him that, okay, get up, go accordingly to the game. If we take the lead, I'll bring you in to close it out. But if we do not score, you know, Chapman's going back out there. They do have a game tomorrow. They go to Washington. So it'd be interesting to see. And like I said, Chapman was in spring training. You know, hadn't made the decision whether he was going to be a starter or a reliever. So I'm sure he got multiple innings pitched.
That is ripped sharply to third, and Rolen stays down and makes the play. Turned on that high-octane fastball.
Hit this ball with authority, but right to the 8-time Gold Glover, Scott Rolen. Scotty playing in now with Komatsu up.
And looking ahead for the Reds, bottom half of their ninth inning. Votto, Ludwig, and Bruce. So you may see Zepchinski or Romero come in for that ninth inning. Komatsu is 0 for 3. He's popped out, grounded out. 0 for 3.
Well, here you are, Dan. You got the same scenario. You see Jason Mott is up, but he's been told you're only going to come in, and somebody from the bench is barking at our home plate umpire. So here, Lance.
Well, as Bill Miller was yelling towards the dugout, Mike Matheny just started clapping and, you know, essentially saying, hey, let's go, let's play baseball, and that's enough. And again, you have an umpire. Looked to be a low strike, but again, an umpire, you know, taking off his mask. And in a way, you know, you're asking for
absolutely
rebuttal.
You know, because nobody knows what's going on until you take the mask off and start yelling, and then everybody reacts to it. It's good to have earplugs if you're an umpire.
There's a base hit into right for Komatsu. There's 20,000 plus that are here to watch the players. Last time I checked.
There, Komatsu turns on that pitch up a little bit, gets a second big league hit. Good to see that, isn't it?
Good to see this. Here's David Freese, who will come off the bench. He'll pinch hit. This guy has been money this year. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, just picking up where he left off in the postseason last year. And at this point, you know, Al, it's not him proving himself, can he play at this level anymore? It's just staying healthy. Can he stay healthy? He's never played more than 97 games in a single year. They shade him opposite way.
It's legitimate injuries, you know, ankle surgeries. Last year's season was cut short with a broken bone in his hand, being hit by a pitch.
What do we know, Al, about the move of Chapman? Big guy, and obviously can bring it.
I would think it's not very good. He doesn't have that much experience with runners on base. Very deliberate. Not saying he doesn't have a little better move, but also think there'd be possibly a good chance of a wild pickoff throw, more so than a good pick-off.
Nothing in 2 the count on David Freese. David, part of his game is the long ball. First career home run, September 29th of 2009. I'm sure a night that he will never forget. What kind of ovation is he going to get on Friday afternoon?
I'm starting to clap right now.
Hometown hero. Freese is tied up and strikes out.
As a baseball fan, you're happy to see him throwing strikes. As a Cardinal fan, you wish you'd start walking people like we saw last season and had to get sent to the minor leagues because he just didn't have command. But that's what they're saying. You know, he's trying to back off a little bit and have better command, and obviously it's still good enough.
Here is Furcal. Here's another instance, Al, and I know he's throwing 95 to 100, but big lefty. We've seen it against Garcia a couple of times. A guy like Furcal that's got pretty good back control, maybe putting down a bunt in this spot, getting himself on and passing it to Jay.
That's one thing to do, but Furcal, one of these little guys, a lot of these little guys, they pesky little hitters and make contact against hard throwers.
Komatsu wearing number 44. Used to be worn by Jason Isringhausen, who made the opening day roster for Anaheim.
Got one down into either corner. And the gun's showing 94 in that, but boy, it sure looks like it's a lot faster than that, doesn't it?
Just judging by the type of swings.
And their swings, you're absolutely right. Just psychologically, it looks like some of the hitters are just overmatched mentally. A simple little game. Just watch that release point. Try and reduce it down to simplicity.
Pitch number 35 here from Chapman, trying to pick up his 5th strikeout of the afternoon.
Right side of the plate. Rafael is 3 for 4. 423 overall average.
Runner goes, and a swing and a miss. The big bat's coming up for Cincinnati. They'll try to win it when we come back. Third inning for St. Louis, and you're looking at Johnny Cueto against Eric Komatsu. This was a 14-pitch at-bat, and really one of the key at-bats in this game because Cueto wasn't quite the same after that. Jaime Garcia followed. A broken bat single for Kyle with a triple to drive him in, and then this blast by John Jay. The Cardinals at that point led by the score of 3-0, and the Reds then have come back though to tie it up as we move to the bottom of the ninth. But the game within the game, and you know, you think about the little things, and that was a key at bat in this game.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's great at bat. Mark Zepchinski will come in here. He's appearing for the third game. We saw him record a scoreless 8th inning on Monday. What a job he did coming over from Toronto in that big 7-player deal back on July 27th of last year. Very, very tough on lefties.
They hit just 163 against him last year. Really worked on his curveball this spring. Votto a good day. He's 3 for 4 average at an even 300 now. Opposite field. Well hit. Just shy of the wall, and it's a leadoff double for Joey Votto. Now this is where Mike Matheny has multiple options. You talk about potentially walking a guy like Ludwig and putting runners on at first and second. Another lefty-lefty matchup as that was just shy of the wall. Could also go with Jason Mott and bring in your closer too.
Right now, that's, you know, Ludwig really not swinging the bat as well as we've seen. You know, it could be a very streaky hitter.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. Mike Matheny wants to talk about it.
I think Mike's going to go out and talk about it and just tell him what he wants to do with Zepchinski. Also talk about bunt defense. You know, pitch around him. They asked Ludwig to bunt here and put him over to third base with 1 out. Ludwig is your cleanup hitter, and right now they're decided they're going to put him on. So no chance for Ludwig unless a mistake pitch.
And you have Jay Bruce on deck. After Bruce, it's Chapman's spot. So you'd have Zepchinski face Bruce. The game is still going at that point. Potentially bring in Mott. Zepchinski, though, as we talked about the other night, was only pulled in 9 of his 28 appearances with Toronto after facing just 1 batter. So he's a guy that was facing righties and lefties. And Mike Matheny has talked about that as well this year, giving him more of that kind of opportunity.
At bat right now is what do you do with Jay Bruce?
Bruce 2 for 3 against Zepchinski, and there's not a lot of difference righties lefties with Jay Bruce. In his career against left-handed pitching, he's a .240 hitter. Against right-handed pitching, he's .263. So there isn't a huge discrepancy between the two.
Heisey on the on-deck circle to hit for Chapman. Well, that's key. Get ahead, and doesn't look like Bruce was ready for that first pitch and steal a strike. That sets up the sequence.
Winning run is at second base in Joey Votto.
Outfielders have to come in a bit.
Last year, the first time that Bruce had top 30 home runs in his career, he had 32.
Even wonder where the Cardinal outfielders with the line drive right at him, could they one hop base hit, would they be able to get the throw with a runner at second base, Votto?
Nice pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dangerous man at the plate that's already produced 100+ career homers, over 200 RBIs in 4 seasons. But that's the run that matters right there on Joey Votto.
Pretty good pitch right there, and he didn't offer at it. Remember, Bruce got power to all fields.
The 2-2.
See where they are defensively, just straight away, and
Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
took enough off the breaking ball to get him out in front. That's a big out. Now Mike Matheny will go to the bullpen.
Heisey, the pinch hitter, when we come back. The line to Fernando Salas, who led the club a year ago in saves. And so far this year, 2 innings and an ERA of 9. No walks. You like that. 4 strikeouts. This will be his 4th appearance of the year.
Heisey will be the pinch hitter, and see his average as a pinch hitter in his career: 345, 6 home runs. Salas did appear on Monday and fanned 2 batters in a scoreless 9th inning.
That's the one that counts out there. The winning run at second base in Joey Votto. We're in the bottom of the 9th. 1 out. Runners at first and second. And Heisey will be the hitter. As a pinch hitter in his career, a 345 average and 6 home runs in just 58 at bats.
Salas averaged a strikeout per inning in his 68 outings a year ago. Also a ground ball guy. He get a double play ball, gets ahead in the count. That's most important.
in his career, 18 strikeouts to just 3 walks. Salas against Cincinnati. Ripped into left center field, and the Reds will salvage a game in this series. Votto will score, and Heise delivers the walk-off hit. Chris Heise is our Budweiser player of the game.
All right, came through in the clutch. Cardinals had a lineup out there where they rested a couple guys. They still had played it to the 9th inning. Come up a little bit short, but what a great road trip to start the season. And we'll have a lot of fun on Friday for this home opener.
Talk about that momentarily on the post-game show. The Cardinals dropped this one. They led 3-0 at one point, and they lose it 4-3. Heise and the Reds salvage a game in the series as the Cardinals take 2 of 3 against Milwaukee and 2 of 3 against Cincinnati. 14 hits for the Reds, and they defeat St. Louis 4-3. Pat and Rick standing by with the post-game show. It comes your way on the home of the Cardinals. Next, Fox Sports Midwest.